This is Viewfromthetop. I'm Modele Sharafa Yusuf, and I thank you for joining us. Women in Management, Business and Public Service, WIMBIZ, is a not-profit organization formed in 2002 by a group of 13 women and 1 man who identified issues concerning women in the workplace and in business, particularly in the areas of leadership capacity building and avenues for networking for growth. WIMBIZ's stated mission is to inspire and empower women with high potential to attain leadership positions in business, management, and public service. Osayi Alile is the current chairperson of WIMBIZ, and she kindly joins me today. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you again for tuning in. Here's a brief profile before we launch into our conversation. Osayi got a bachelor's degree in sociology from the University of Lagos and a master's in public administration from the Rutgers University, USA. She's also an alumna of the Harvard Business School and Yale Executive Education programs. She started her career as a teller in Guarantee Trust Bank, served later as Vice President Programs at Junior Achievement Nigeria, and was Executive Director of Fate Foundation for 8 years. She was named Young Global Leader by the World Economic Forum in 2007, and she's been a Fellow of the African Leadership Network. She is a member of the World Economic Forum's Global Agenda Council on Youth Unemployment and founding curator, Global Shapers Forum, Nigeria. She became chairperson of WIMBIZ in November 2013. The WIMBIZ has over the years created platforms for empowering women, and central to your activities is research on the realities of women in Nigeria. What factors have been identified to be inhibiting the occupancy of leadership positions by women?
What happens is that we've just lived in the status quo. This is how it's always been, and it just continues to be. But what we've begun to realize is that once you begin to talk about it and begin to ask for changes, and most of the men are asking, oh, we didn't even know that we needed to do this in the first place. So it's a mindset first. And once you change the mindset of the way people think and realize that the population of the world is held by both men and women, and everybody needs to have a voice in playing the game, you find out that things begin to change.
So what exactly are those things, apart from the mindset, that you've identified as inhibiting women?
The environment, first of all, community, the way we live, the way people see things, that women, the kind of positions that they assume that women should be at is one of the issues that we face. Also, the fact that women tend not to want to take those kind of positions. So they feel to themselves that when you get to a certain point, people have to call you to assume those roles. Sometimes you have to ask for the roles as well. So that's another thing. Also, in terms of the game, who plays the game? And when we're asking for nominations for anything, let me give an example on sitting on a board. We have 13 men on the board and there's no woman. And then you're asking for nominations. Who do they keep on calling? It's the same men. So we have to just begin to sit on the table as well with them.
You've been quoted as saying things holding women back include funding, mentoring, sponsorship, exclusion from working, as you've just identified, and also women themselves. What do you mean by women themselves?
I look at women themselves as women themselves. People tend to think that maybe another woman is inhibiting the woman. I think it's something that is internal. And it's innate in a woman. First of all, she feels to herself that she does not have the right to that position, that somebody else is better. So when you find out that when you ask women, oh, can you nominate someone for me? You find out that they mention 4 other people and they're all men, because they assume that that's the best person for the job. And they don't even think about themselves. And if you were at the conference, there's a lady that said, when they asked her commissioner for finance, she gave 4 names, which were all men. And she didn't think that a woman could be commissioner for finance.
Since found out that, there's nothing to it.
There's nothing to it. She says it's actually an easier job than she thought it was going to be. But that's the same reasoning that we always portray, that we tend to take the back pedal when responsibilities come in. You just find maybe a very minute percentage of women that would step forward and say, I don't know what they're asking me to do, but I'll do it anyway. But it's beginning to change. It's beginning to change gradually.
So it's obviously socialization.
Definitely. That's why I said the environment kills us fast. It's a status quo. This is what we've been used to doing in the last couple of years, and we just continue as such. And we take responsibilities at PTA meetings. Found out that a lot of the women are the chair people of, those are things that we think we should be doing. Those levels. But when it comes to a higher level of the board, I mean, even we that we have been doing a lot of work with women on boards, when we ask women, the first thing that they will say is that, oh, I don't know if I have the capacity, I don't know if I have the tools yet, I'm not sure if I can do this, I can't read numbers. Just say yes first. When you get there, you will deal with the other issues, because a gentleman will say yes first. And then when he gets there, he'll say, okay, how do I cope? But we tend to just take the back pedal first.
The 2014 WIMBIZ conference had its theme, Nigeria Rising,
yes,
accelerating transformation. How can women take advantage of the opportunities in the new Nigeria?
I'll start explaining like a lot of people are saying Nigeria Rising with all the challenges we're having. Yeah, we do have a lot of challenges, but you must also realize that we're now the largest economy in Africa. That's the first thing. And a lot of international organizations are coming in and they're asking, they want a piece of the pie. We're asking the women that if people are coming from the outside asking for a piece of the pie, how are you ready to make sure that you are available to be part of enjoying the piece of that pie because you're a Nigerian? And so what we did was just give different platforms, get them ready. And one of the major two industries we talked about was education and agriculture, because we realized that, yes, our educational system has huge challenges, but there are so many opportunities available there. So even if you're sitting in an office in a bank and you're thinking to yourself, what can I do next to myself? And maybe private banking and all that, you begin to realize that if the educational system is huge, how do I get myself involved? Even as a banker, how do I begin to talk to people in the educational system? If people are coming in, who do I speak to? How do I get involved? And then if you're a business person, you ask yourself also that, how can my business, if you're in IT, how do my business get involved with the education system? We're trying to make sure that they don't get stuck in just one bowl. There's so many bowls to enjoy from. You can't get wealthy with just making income from one place. You have to think much wider. And then in terms of sustainability, when we're talking about accelerating transformation, you have to start thinking of sustainability in the longer term. How can my business survive in the next 10 years? And that's why we also had a technology platform as well, a masterclass, because women are also very shy of technology. But without technology, you can't reach the numbers you want to reach. You just can't. So those are the things that we're talking about to get people more ready to face the kind of rising that we're going to do in the next few years.
One of the things that came up
yes.
at that conference was participation of women in politics. We clearly don't have enough women in political leadership
yes.
positions. You once said that quota system will actually be counterproductive, and that occupancy of a leadership position should be based on merit, and that the final decision between the two equals should not be their gender.
Yes.
So what exactly do women want?
I still agree with what I said. I tend not to believe in quota system because I think people have to vie for that position. But I also understand that we need to be able to push more than we are doing, especially when it comes to public service and politics. The statistics of women is so low. So what do we want? We want to sit at the table in politics, but are we ready? We have to be. We have to get involved. I mean, one of the things the guest speaker was talking about is that even if you don't, you have to register first. And that's something that's so basic. But women stand in the sun for 1 hour, we complain, we go back in, and well, let them go and do it themselves. But we can't sit in the background. We just can't. Because what will happen again is that we're going to begin to complain. It's not going well. But if it's not going well, did you vote? No, I did not, but I should have, and stuff like that. But on the other side, in terms of leadership, what we've also started doing is that we've started talking to women that have just a bit of interest in politics and leadership, and asking them, what do they want us to do? How can we help? We might not understand the game properly, and that's something, because we've always been women in management and business. Now we're just beginning to delve into politics. So we're asking questions. What do we need to do? How do you want us to help? Who can we get you in touch with? Because that's one of the things WIMBIZ does. We're an interface, we're a bridge. If you're standing alone, we try and link you up with someone that is larger than you and see how you can work together. You can